Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Education, SOE Diploma Postgraduate Diploma Programs, Postgraduate Diploma in School Leadership and Management, PGDSLM, English, MES 004 Head Teachers as School Leaders, Block 1 Profile of a School Leader, Unit 1 Emerging Role of the School in the Changing Context of Education, 1.1 Introduction. Socioeconomic changes taking place all over the globe are impacting the schools in a major way. At the same time, in the midst of the shifts in society, there is change in the expectations from the local school. All stakeholders, including parents, are beginning to see the school as the stepping stone to mobility. For instance, a parent would see education as being instrumental to social mobility. A higher education institution would look for an intellectually versatile individual. A CEO of a company would look for skilled individuals. A developing economy would look for an informed and a productive generation of citizens, and so on. However, the school itself has remained mostly unchanged in respect of, say, social and economic composition, the content, the methodology of teaching, the performance expectations, etc. In this unit, we will discuss the nature of the changes and the way these are impacting the school system. We will also discuss the role of the head teacher as the school leader in the context of the changing societies. To bring home the arguments, the unit adopts the methodology of building a scenario of the future through projections. 1.2 Objectives. By the end of this unit, you should be able to understand the context of the present-day school, understand the dynamics of the factors that influence the school, appreciate the need for change at the school level, analyze the process of initiating change, and adapt the relevant process of change in the context of your school. 1.3 The context of the present-day school. To understand the present-day context of the school, one needs to recount the changes emanating largely from the economic and social crisis of the 1970s and 1980s. Law and Glover, 2000, studying the changing socio-political context over the past decade, within which educational developments have been framed, consider the following developments as significant: growing consumerism, client power, and customer orientation, a developing knowledge revolution, information age and learning society characterized by an information explosion and emphasis on lifelong learning, the dramatic impact of new information and communications technology on organizational structures, strategies and relationships, growing short-termist, profit-focused practices, increasingly globalized and intensified competition, the growing use of regulatory power as a frame for business practice. 1.3.1 Socioeconomic factors impacting the schools. It goes without saying that social and economic conditions may vary from one geographic area or even one district to the next. Yet a number of trends continue to impact the school system and the social development of youth across the globe. Let us examine some of the trends that are likely to influence the instruction in schools and the ability of schools to respond to these issues that will have long-term implications for students, families, and the entire nations. Family and society. The family structure is undergoing a change. Schools will continue to see fewer children from traditional to parent families. The number of households where individuals or unrelated persons and not the family as such live together is also witnessing an increase. Consequently, values like sharing, cooperation, respect for diversity of thought and being are taking a back seat. In addition, low household income and increasing family violence is likely to further weaken family stability. Poverty, globalization is likely to increase the divide between the rich and the poor. The proportion of children from low-income families who stay in less stable homes and whose parents have less education is likely to increase manifold. Children without homes. According to recent studies, children and youth are the fastest growing segment of homeless population. This has serious implications for schooling. Apart from the socio-emotional problems, this is liable to impede learning and other school-related processes for the shelterless youth. Use of drugs. Alcohol and instances of juvenile delinquency are more frequent amongst this group. Use of drugs and alcohol, cigarette smoking, and use of drugs like ecstasy is on the rise. Studies have indicated that high-risk youth, from any socio-economic background, experience multiple problems as a result of their drinking behavior and have trouble with parents, family, and in school. Changing racial and ethnic demographics, increasing physical mobility has led to an increase in the racial and ethnic diversity in schools. Schools are expected to change what they teach, and how they communicate with parents. Teachers need to examine their racial and cultural biases, and an inclusive curriculum should reflect this at all levels. Technology, easy access to more information has meant that there are more sources of information apart from the teacher in the classroom. For the teacher, it means making use of the emerging technologies to enhance the effectiveness of instruction. Harnessing technology to proper use is a challenge for the students and the learners. Changing areas of studies, courses like microbiology, biotechnology, and computer applications are in great demand. Certificate courses and diplomas have become a way of satisfying the need for upgrading knowledge required for the changes in the job market. Accordingly, there is a pressure to change the school curriculum and make it relevant to application-oriented skills for the job market. Disaster management, hospitality management, software for operations management, internet and web designing, etc. are being introduced at the school level. Globalization has also driven the offering of courses in foreign languages. Impact of the job market. The job market has not only influenced what should be taught, but has also had a phenomenal influence on the value systems. The competition is stiff and it affects work ethics, as well as creates work pressure. So much so that there is early burnout among young professionals. The high-paying nature of the current-day careers in demand by multinationals has made young people upwardly mobile, leading to changes in lifestyle. This encourages perceptions such as good English is crucial, computer applications is essential to get ahead. In this scenario, success in terminal examinations is highly desired, with guides, as opposed to the teaching learning that takes place in schools, playing a major role in achieving success. Advertising and media play a major role in recruitment. The would-be recruit knows in advance the kind of company that he is likely to join, the pay package in store, etc. This results in excessive pressure on achievement in examinations, which has come to characterize teaching learning process of the day. The other implications of this are, students are more aware of what they want. The available sources of information other than the teacher are very many. Experiences like educational tours or visiting the library are becoming redundant. Education today is more skill-based than content-based. More vocational job-oriented courses are available today, and commercialization, the utilitarian value of education, is gaining more prominence. Students are opting to take part-time courses, which are likely to enhance their skills. The interest in conventional education per se is reducing. Teachers are being increasingly seen as technologists rather than as philosopher kings. Is the current system of education effective? Having examined the context of the local school, both local and global, let us now examine whether the current system of education is effective enough to cope with these changes. A group of principals, senior teachers and students, when asked this question, had the following to say: teachers are valued from the point of view of achievement, marks, of their students. The system is also ineffective because too much is achieved too soon with too many distractions. Higher student-teacher ratio has meant that students have no affection for teachers. Syllabus is outmoded. No interpersonal skills are being developed and students lack moral values. Saraswati Devi, a senior school principal: teachers are increasingly being seen as technologists rather than as educators. Education is turning to ready-made answers for business practices rather than for a more integrated and holistic approach to life. Competencies of the learners are not enhanced, i.e., they are not translated into understanding. Commercialization of education is widespread. Consequently, parents are not able to make right choices for their children's future. The education system does not cater to the excellent or those below average as evidenced by the nature of question papers. There is no scope for individualistic or creative learning. There is a distinct lack of imagination in writing and speaking. The dropout rate is increasing. There is a decline in morals values. Behavior exhibits this. Among the products of the system, there are not many takers for the science and engineering group. Yasmin, a secondary school teacher, the education system is churning out stereotyped students. I find myself unable to cope with inflexibility. Education is very rigid. Promotion is according to age rather than ability. Opportunities depend on marks. Therefore, there is a pressure to score up to 98% or 99%, and other aspects are completely ignored. I feel my creative abilities cannot be evaluated by examinations, which are set in a rigid pattern. I cannot choose what I want to learn and how I want to be examined. Education has not helped me develop skills for daily life such as managing daily chores and crisis. Worst outcomes in 2025 if no change is made. Let us envisage a scenario if no change is made in the education system. We will try to visualize the no change situation in 2025. It is important to understand the worst outcomes to be able to really allow us to be creative in assessing the potential for desired change. Times technology has overtaken the society. There is a shortage of skilled manpower. Pure sciences are dying. High-tech crime has become widespread. There is a drop in economic growth, intellectual growth, and quality of governance at a global level. Civil society is lacking in values, patience, and tolerance. There is a lack of leadership, consensus, and accountability. It is normal to pass the blame. Education is losing its credibility, and there is a decrease in knowledge creation. The society is insensitive and promotes unfair practices. Cynicism sets in and there is negative social change. Incompetent professionals have increased, resulting in an inefficient human resource. Growth of the country is affected. Antisocial behavior, crime rate, terrorism, fanaticism, nervous breakdown, and drug addiction has increased. There is a breakup of the institution of family and values. Children are purposeless, disenchanted, have low morale and low motivation. Brain drain of both teachers and students is widespread. There is frustration, disappointment, and depression among students and parents. Emotional instability has led to imbalance. As a result, there are more suicidal cases. Parental frustration has increased. There are too frequent changes in the education system leading to instability. Arts and other creative expressions have decreased. As a result, imagination is stifled and stereotypical human beings are emerging. Lack of imagination impedes progress towards better civilization. Unemployment is widespread because although skills are required, they are not delivered by the system. National uniqueness has disappeared and individual recognition is lost. Humanist is not understood due to high performance demands. 1.4 The future of schooling. Some possibilities, taking cognizance of the nature and sweep of changes. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, Center for Educational Research and Innovation, CERI, sought to answer the following questions. What is the future of schools? Which trends are influencing schools and where are they leading them to? What aspects should be followed in order to make a desirable evolution? 1.4.1 Scenarios for the future of schooling. 6 scenarios, clustered round the following 3 categories, were developed by Eistens, D. 2003, after a series of debates and discussions amongst head teachers, policy makers and senior educators, times attempting to maintain the status quo, times reschooling, times deschooling. These categories serve the purpose of clarifying options, values and alternatives and are not to be viewed as rigid models. Scenario 1, attempting to maintain the status quo, with the status quo scenarios. The basic features of existing systems are maintained well into the future, whether from public choice or from the inability to implement fundamental change. Scenario 1A: bureaucratic school systems continue. This scenario is built on the continuation of powerful bureaucratic systems, strong pressures towards uniformity, and resistance to radical change. Implications for leadership and management. Leadership in this scenario calls for strong administrative capacities to handle the bureaucratic demands. It needs abilities to manage competing vested interests that come together in the place called school, especially in the light of limited resources. There are no significant new resources, financial or human, for established tasks. New tasks are being continually added. Accountability pressures are strong and occupy a great deal of management time and energy. Scenario 1B: teacher exodus, the meltdown scenario. In this scenario, there would be a major crisis brought about by teacher shortages, a rapidly aging profession, exacerbated by low teacher morale and buoyant opportunities for graduates to find more attractive jobs elsewhere. Implications for leadership and management. The leadership and management in this case is summed up in the term crisis management. In socio-geographical areas where problems are most acute, the shortages among those willing to assume these jobs could be greater. A fortress mentality would be widespread in those areas most protected from the meltdown. It would be likely that investments in school facilities would be very much under pressure, as funds are switched increasingly into salaries in an effort to attract more teachers. Scenario 2: reschooling. The reschooling scenarios would see major investments and widespread recognition of schools and their achievements, including their professionals, with a high priority accorded to both quality and equity. Scenario 2A: schools as core social centers. The school in this scenario enjoys widespread recognition as the most effective bulwark against social, family, and community fragmentation. It is now strongly defined by collective and community tasks. This leads to extensive shared responsibilities between schools and other community bodies, sources of expertise, and institutions of further and continuing education, which may contribute towards and not conflict with high teacher professionalism. Implications for leadership and management. Management would be complex in this scenario. The school would be the center for a dynamic interplay of community groups and players, with open doors and low barriers between them. Integrating the formal learning programs with a wide range of other activities would present considerable challenges. At the same time, leadership would also be more widely distributed and collective, and less would be expected of hard-pressed individuals. With well-developed frameworks of support locally, nationally, and internationally, there would be a rich vein of resources available to facilitate the undoubtedly challenging nature of management in such a scenario, including the management of infrastructures. Scenario 2B: schools as focused learning organizations. In this scenario, schools are revitalized around a strong knowledge agenda, in a culture of high quality, experimentation, diversity, and innovation. New forms of evaluation and competence assessment flourish. Information and communication technologies, ICTs, would be used extensively alongside other learning media, traditional and new. Knowledge management is to the fore, and the very large majority of schools justify the label learning organizations. Hence, equality of opportunity is the norm, with extensive links to tertiary education and diverse other organizations. Implications for leadership and management. Professional leadership would replace the administrative thrust of the bureaucratic scenarios. With schools being learning organizations, hierarchy structures are typically flat, with teams and networks taking over much of what currently would be shouldered by particular individuals. Quality norms and conventions would also typically replace the more punitive forms of accountability, with problems of quality that arise being resolved through various forms of professional mediation at local or higher levels. Scenario 3: deschooling. In Scenario 3A, new forms of cooperative networks come to predominate, compared with the competitive mechanisms that define Scenario 3B. Scenario 3A: learning networks and the network society. dissatisfaction with institutionalized provision and the expression given to diversified demand leads to the abandonment of schools in favor of a multitude of learning networks. Quickened by the possibilities afforded by powerful, inexpensive ICTs. The deinstitutionalization, even dismantling, of school systems would be an important feature of the emerging network society. Various cultural, religious and community voices come powerfully to the fore in the socialization and learning arrangements for children, some of which are very local in character, while others use distance and cross-border networking, implications for leadership and management. As the system becomes transformed into interlocking networks, authority and leadership become more widely diffused. Much of the administration that is now carried out by educational authorities and schools would be taken over by particular individuals, groups and interests in society, developing their own educational projects and methods for bringing them to the learners. Far from simplifying the management of education, it would become extremely complex. The removal of the established visible structures would place demanding expectations on all those involved in the education of the young to be able to operate many systems capable of teaching, facilitating, organizing community resources, engaging in professional development, managing infrastructure and finance, and so forth. Scenario 3b, extending the market model. Existing market features in education are significantly extended as governments encourage diversification in a broader environment of market-led change. This would be fueled by the dissatisfaction of strategic consumers in cultures where schooling is commonly viewed as a private rather than a public good. Many new providers are stimulated to come into the learning market, encouraged by thoroughgoing reforms of funding structures. Innovation abounds, but so too do painful transitions and inequalities. Implications for leadership and management, entrepreneurial modes would now be much more apparent. But management would not be entirely reduced to entrepreneurship, as all the features of previous scenarios could be expected to be evident in the market model: administrative acumen, crisis management, community involvement, flat hierarchy and team working, professional leadership and multi-skilling. The settings wherein management and leadership would be exercised would be extended, given the key role of information and guidance, indicators and assessments, and the need to develop the dynamic interplay between educational supply and demand. 1.5 Imperatives of a Plan of Change in Schools. In the earlier part of this unit, we have discussed the context and the nature of change influencing the school processes. In response, school as a system needs to reflect changes in its core characteristics. In this section, we will examine some of these characteristics and the nature of changes that need to be reflected therein. 1.5.1 Policies. Policies will involve belief statements regarding all key aspects of the institution, such as the kind of students that the school will serve, the distinctions based on gender, socioeconomic status, geographical area and ability groupings need to be consciously and effectively eroded. The policies will define the institution's beliefs about education, such as whether it is child-centered or subject-centered, whether it believes that different children are differently abled where learning is concerned, whether it believes that all children from any race, ethnicity or gender are able to learn, etc. Based on these beliefs, policies regarding the teacher-student ratio, the fees, the kind of infrastructure, the facilities, the curriculum, the learning outcomes, the number and qualifications of teachers and staff to be employed will be determined and stated. 1.5.2 Curriculum. Depending on the above and a vision about education, the curriculum guidelines will be determined upfront. As the curriculum entails all the experiences that a child has from the time of his/her entry into the school, it is imperative that policies regarding the curriculum are decided beforehand. The policies will take care of the kind of subjects to be offered vis-à-vis the kind of students. It is considered ideal that all children be offered the freedom to study the subjects of their choice. For this policy to be successful, the school will have to commit itself to a policy that will ensure proper support systems, especially in the case of specially able students, girls, students from diverse racial, multicultural background, etc. Policies regarding the methodology and evaluation can be stated once the learning outcomes and subjects are determined. 1.5.3 Human resources and its development in an institution. The human resource are all people who are or can be involved in achieving the goals of an institution. This will include teachers, non-teaching staff, parents, and community. The most important of them all are teachers, as they are directly involved with students in their education. In this part, let us deal with teachers and their development first. Teachers and their development. As times change, information and technology also grows, teachers will have to be retrained, reskilled. Teachers cannot be left to their own resources in the process of achieving the school goals. Goals and know how to work with each other can hope to achieve the lofty aims of the future school. Staff development will constitute an ongoing and sustained aspect of the school system. Parents and community. In the past, parents have been treated as adversaries who either wanted to interfere with the education of their wards or did not involve themselves in the school's activities. Parents are an important part of the school's human resource. They are the ones who wield influence on the belief systems, attitudes, values, and habits of the children who come to school. Therefore, it is imperative that they be treated as partners. Futuristic policies with regard to parents should result in increased cooperation between parents, community, and schools. Once convinced about the vision of the school, they will also support the school's philosophy and endorse it at home as well. Some of the useful values that they can endorse at home are cooperation, non-discrimination, sharing, consistency and discipline in work, earning respect through merit, etc. Group of people who are committed to the institutional. The community, being the larger body which consists of the parents as well, can be invited to be a part of the vision of the school. More the attempts to involve them and inform them of the significant happenings in the local school, more will be their willingness to contribute to the growth of the school. 1.5.4 Desired terminal behavior. Desired terminal behavior comprises the desired outcomes that an institution is looking for among the students who leave their school. The set of learning outcomes encompass the kind of knowledge, skills and values that students should have when they leave school. They depend on the demands of society, institutions of higher learning, the job market, the employers, etc. In today's world, students are expected to know learning how to learn, learning how to choose, and learning how to relate. Another area of knowledge that is considered to be of great value is that of dealing with technology and its consistent innovations. Skills are related to these areas. For instance, problem-solving skills, evaluative skills, adaptive skills, and skills that have to do with valuing diversity among people and being able to relate to them in an edifying manner. Physical skills of flexibility, strength, and endurance have also to be acquired by students. The kinds of values that are thought to be necessary for harmonious existence in today's world are respecting all kinds of life forms, valuing people, and freedom to be able to live without fear. The values and skills that a futuristic school aims to inculcate amongst its pupils will consist of the ones discussed above. Vision for a school in 2025. If appropriate changes are made, we have discussed at length the changes impacting the school system, the scenarios that are likely to emerge in future, and the need for schools to reflect on their core characteristics to prepare themselves for the change. Assuming that schools make the required changes, let us project a vision of a school in 2025 and examine what it looks like. Policies and curriculum in 2025. The school of 2025, although as a place has disappeared, it has all infrastructure, where all the roles of the parents and teachers are defined. Teachers are facilitators and are facilitating from home virtually by activities based on learning by doing. All children are admitted but not before they are 7 years of age. Each child goes at its pace and is not subjected to corporal punishment. The teacher-student ratio is 1:10. Wider choices of avenues of learning are available. A variety of choices are being offered, and the choice is determined by the aptitude of the students in terms of their pace, style, and level. There is no timetable, so the curriculum is characterized by flexi time, has one field trip per month, with children coming to school only to play and have group work. Assignments are submitted by email. International exchange of students is part of the curriculum. There are no competitive examinations or entrance tests. The fee structure is flexible. In fact, no fee is charged till the child has learned. There is collaboration between government and private schools, teachers and teaching in 2025. Teachers in 2025 are using high-tech classrooms. Technology is combined with the intensive interaction with the children. Children go to these classrooms willingly and learn life skills along with subjects. Space and time are no longer constraints to learning. The method of interactive teleconferencing is used for teaching. Evaluations are not taking place through examinations. Teachers are trained in all aspects of technology. Times Parents and Community in 2025. Parents and community of 2025 are involved in decision-making and development of the school. There is an increased cooperation between parents, community, and schools. They are forward-thinking, and as a result there is 100% literacy in society and 100% competence in any individual child. They are supportive as co-teachers and in other roles to the education system so that it is successful in catering to the individual needs of the child. Their involvement has led to vocational education in all streams and building a creative and innovative environment. There are no discriminations and distinctions based on race, ethnicity, and sex. The self-esteem of children has increased. The schools in such an environment are committed and accountable to value-based and skill-based learning. Students in 2025. The student of 2025 is a global citizen and ready to face the world. The curriculum allows the student to access teaching from anywhere in the globe and answer a question paper from anywhere in the world. They are funding their own learning through the Earn and Learn scheme. They are learning at any age, at their own will, without any restrictions, inhibitions, and pressures of time and form. They are working with e-texts, and the curriculum is characterized by endless experimentation before specialization. They are doers and not rote learners. Self-evaluation has replaced external evaluation. The above process, from describing the context of school right up to drawing up the vision, is one of the ways that change agents use to help educationists understand the need for change and begin the process of change. It has the following steps: analysis of the current situation, worst outcomes if no change is made, best outcomes if change is made. The vision is a long-term plan, usually not less than 10 years. From it arise the yearly goals for the institution, organization. 1.6 Leadership and change. The above discussion amply indicates that school as an organization has to consider the changes taking place in the socio-economic context. As leaders, the responsibility to effect the requisite changes rests on you. Leadership characteristics that hinder change are: the belief that only leaders have all the answers, belief that leadership characteristics are concentrated only in a few chosen teachers. The only way to make teachers and staff work is to monitor them constantly. The only way to stop mistakes and people from messing things up is to catch your people doing wrong and giving their example so that others do not dare to make the same mistakes. Only a few teachers can inspire, and therefore leadership should always rest on them. The way to inspire is to make flowery, profound, bombastic speeches. Decisions have to be taken only by leaders. Questioning is considered disrespectful and could warrant punishment. Ridicule. Secrecy is a highly regarded virtue. Leadership characteristics that facilitate change: the belief that all teachers bring valuable perspectives and it is the role of the leader to bring together perspectives into a synergistic whole checkup. Leadership characteristics are widely distributed. Various teachers bring different kinds of expertise and are leaders in that particular area. Belief that for people, work is as natural as play, and with a supportive environment, they will monitor themselves, be self-regulated and productive. Teachers are also on a continuum of maturity, and a leader's job is to identify that and facilitate their growth towards maturity. The best people management skill is to catch them doing right. Mistakes are the rungs in the ladder of learning and maturity. Inspiration is a byproduct of having walked the path before asking others to do so. Decisions are taken by everybody on the organizational ladder depending on how clearly policies are laid out regarding their authority. Authority is delegated right up to the last wing. Major decisions like paradigms or belief systems of organizations have to involve all stakeholders of the organization. Transparency is the only way that the leader and the school will earn the respect of its employees, because it makes them free from fear and allows them to trust each other. 1.7 Let us sum up. The context of the present-day school is varied and has changed a lot in the last few decades. Although the changes at the school level itself have been rather slow and most of the time ineffective. The worst outcomes of this situation continuing are too dismal to be allowed. Therefore, it is imperative to make the desired changes. Schools will have to change or they will eventually become redundant. The head teacher and the vision of the school put together by its teachers drive organizational change. The facets of the school that are crucial to change are policies, curriculum, teachers, their professional and personal development, parents and community and student learning outcomes. The kind of leadership required to drive this change has to be a facilitative one, which alone can ensure the commitment of people to achieve the lofty organizational goals. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates. And we will see you with the next chapter.